There's a new battle heating up over smoking, and it's spreading. Taking effect today in Bangor, Maine, a new law that bans smoking when children are in the car. Violators will face a $50 fine, and New Jersey lawmakers will soon consider similar legislation that would impose a fine of up to $500 for smoking in cars with kids in the back seat. So is this another Big Brother intrusion or a necessary step to protect the children? Patrick Reynolds is president of the Foundation for a Smoke-Free America. He's also the grandson of tobacco company founder R.J. Reynolds. And Audrey Silk is a smokers' rights advocate and founder of NYC Clash, or Citizens Lobbying Against Smoker Harassment. Audrey, I have to start with you. You're not possibly going to defend that people should be able to smoke with their children in the car, are you?
Oh, absolutely, because this has nothing to do with smoking around children. This is the next step in the war on smokers, and they're hiding behind, again, the children to advance that. The dose is what makes the poison, and there are other anti-tobacco researchers that say that the dose does not reach an appreciable amount of risk on the health of children in cars.
Patrick, Audrey says it's okay. People should be able to smoke in their car with their children in the back. Your response?
I fully disagree. You know, there's an overwhelming body of scientific evidence saying that secondhand smoke causes asthma among children. It's
at
causing
what dose
50,000
and at what level
adults
and at
to
what
die every year.
duration?
Well,
secondhand smoke, Audrey, is...
Audrey, let's
listen,
do this.
listen,
Let me show you both.
I am
We do have
clearly
a July
sympathetic.
2006 report from the Surgeon General that found that secondhand smoke does put children at risk for sudden infant death syndrome, bronchitis, and pneumonia. It worsens asthma attacks. It causes poor lung growth and ear infections. So, Audrey, I don't know what you're talking about when you say that there's no evidence or no dose that smoking can harm children.
The Surgeon General did not say that it causes these things. He may have said it increases the possible risk. There's a huge difference between risk and harm. And look, we're talking about private property and parental autonomy more than anything here. That by virtue of taking our children out of our private homes, into our private cars, onto public roads, government can now come in and take over the oversight of our children. With the crisis
Audrey,
of obesity...
I'd like to respond to that. You know, government by...
French fries.
Jump in, Patrick.
You're talking about government by jingo and right-wing slogan. Good government requires a little bit more fine-tuning than that. What about, should we get rid of the car seats in cars so that the parents don't have to put their children in car seats? Should we get rid of should we get rid of all seatbelt laws in private cars?
That is not the same. That has to do with the operation of the vehicle and the safety in operating that vehicle. Smoking. They will come into our homes. I would ask Mr. Reynolds to tell us how soon until he can come into our homes, if they can come into our cars, that he will dictate by law that you cannot smoke around your children, you cannot feed them this or that. They're crossing a line that does not need to be crossed. It's dangerous for everybody.
You know, this is a right-wing slogan, keep government out of our lives. Well, let me tell you something. Without the government in our lives to protect us from the predatory corporations and some of the big business special interests out there, I think that our country would be far worse off. And you know what? We do need a little government in our lives. We do need to protect children whose parents are so ignorant that they smoke in the car.
Do you agree
that
there's an obesity crisis?
We need to protect the kids, Audrey.
Do you agree there's an obesity crisis?
These are reasonable laws. You are an extremist. You're voicing an extremist comment.
I'm a realist.
We mustn't have any government in our lives. It's silly. Good government is a little more complicated than that. It requires more fine-tuning. You can't govern by slogan or jingo. No.
All right, you're a little
Audrey, what about, and Patrick, I do want to challenge you on this. What about Audrey's point? And the difference is, though, especially we use laws, especially with minors, because we do intrude into people's adults' lives, especially to protect minors. That is the system of government that we focus on. But what about to Audrey's point, where her concern is that the government is really starting to reach into the private lives of Americans and their behaviors when it comes to smoking, whether it's, you know, getting rid of smoking in restaurants or whatever. I mean, has government gone overboard in this regard?
You know, we have seen perhaps not even enough government. We have no FDA regulation of tobacco because the majority leader at the time, Trent Lott, bragged openly that he single-handedly killed the bill to bring about congressional FDA regulation of tobacco. And Trent Lott killed that. Well, who's the biggest donor to the Republican Party? The second biggest donor, I believe, is the tobacco industry. They gave $32 million since 1997, according to Common Cause and the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. 81% of those millions went to Republican candidates.
What does this have to do with what we're talking about? It's not right and left. It's freedom. And you are passing the line into our private spaces based on small, tiny, unproven risks that Still controversial.
Audrey, these are proven, the science is proven.
The
16
1988
states.
WHO report found that there was a 22% effect.
And the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, they've all banned smoking from all bars, all restaurants statewide in the last 12 of them in the last 4 years alone. We're at the tipping point.
Patrick Reynolds and Audrey
science.
I really
16
appreciate
states have banned smoking statewide in restaurants and bars.
You're a bigger
Patrick Reynolds
danger
and
than
Audrey
secondhand smoke to Americans.
I really appreciate both of your passion, and I really appreciate this debate, and thank you to both of you.